Very much.
Indeed. With one grenade, a family's world was completely shattered and a baby teetered on the brink of life and death. Coming up next, you will meet the parents of baby Boo Boo, who came up close and personal with some overly aggressive SWAT tactics. So how is Boo Boo? You can find out next. Stay with us. Welcome back to The Independence, and now it's time for a segment we call The Other War. This is the side of the drug war that not enough shows report on, frankly, and it's been a really bad year for the Fonasavan family. They were forced to move in with relatives in Georgia after their Wisconsin home burnt to the ground. Things got far worse when their sleeping 19-month-old baby was severely wounded during a no-knock raid on their temporary home by a SWAT team from the Habersham County Sheriff's Office, searching for a low-level drug dealer who did not even live there and apparently ignoring signs that several children were staying in the house, including toys in the front yard. The officers threw a flashbang grenade. It's a device meant to temporarily blind and deafen directly into the baby's crib, ripping a hole in his chest and setting off a bloody panic, as you can well imagine. Now, baby Boo Boo has had a number of surgeries and has existed mostly in a medically induced coma since that tragic night. So how did a drug bust gone bad maim and nearly kill a child? Police have not responded to our requests for comment, but let's talk to the baby's parents. Baby Boo Boo's mom and dad are here, Buncombe and Alicia Fonasavan. Welcome to The Independence.
Thank you.
You're also joined by your spokesman, Marcus Coleman. Marcus, thanks very much for making this all happen. So first and foremost, this is such a tragic story, and I want you to walk me through the events. You know, I'm a parent, and normally when we're awakened in the middle of the night, it's by a child who wants to be comforted. What do you remember? How were you awakened that night?
It was a loud sound, and then I woke up, and I see flash and in front of my eyes, and even louder sound. And then big officers just rush and put forearm under my throat and pin me down on the floor. And hear my wife and my kids yelling and screaming. And during that time when he pinned me down, the sound like the other officer was taking my kids out of the crib. And then the big officer that's on top of me asked somebody, one of the guys said that now, you know, obviously asked if to let me go or not. And he said no. And that guy, the one on top of me, keep pinning me down. And I told him I'm choking, I cannot breathe. And he just didn't care, you know. So I just work myself, twist my neck and to the open spot where I can breathe, and I kept my mouth open.
No,
until
Alicia,
my jaw was hurting.
Alicia, at this point, you see that your baby is covered in blood, and they wouldn't let you hold your child?
No, I didn't. No, I did not. When the officer came in, he picked up my son and held him at an angle where I could not see that my son was injured at all.
Right.
When did you find out that he had a hole blown in his chest, that this 19-month-old baby was severely wounded and burned?
Well, the whole time that the officers were at the house, they kept lying to us, telling us our son was fine, he did not sustain any serious injury, that he had just lost a tooth.
That's the exact words.
We did not find out the extent of our son's injuries until we got to Grady Hospital.
So they took your son to the hospital. You did not accompany them. And
no.
Since then, how many surgeries has baby Boo Boo had? How long was he in a medically induced coma?
He was in a coma for about 3.5 weeks, and he's had 4 surgeries.
Oh, that poor baby. And I know that you have not been able to look at that hole that was blown into his chest. He's been so badly burned. And, you know, the most important question we have is, how is baby Boo Boo now?
He's come a long way, but he's got a very long way to go still.
Yeah.
He's still got that big hole on his chest.
I mean, that is tough. The rehabilitation, that is just unconscionable.
Well, if I could, we would just like to take a minute. I want to let your audience know that, of course, that the Fonasavan family, they were not the suspects. There were no drugs seized. There were no arrests made. The arrest of the suspect was made later that evening at another residence, his place of residence, and it was made by a knock on the door. The ACLU, we're so thankful for their completion of their report that deals with the militarization of police departments across this nation. Here in Georgia, we have a governor race that is in battle between Governor Deal and candidate Carter. And I would just like to send a message that Georgians, citizens of Georgia, voters of Georgia would really like to hear from the potential governors of this state on how they would address no-knock warrants and their lackluster policing that goes into our investigation, that goes into being able to knock someone's home door open in the middle of the night, and also the militarization of police departments.
All right,
We're really
and by the way,
calling upon the governors of this state for that.
We have covered the ACLU report, and you can go to our website and look at some of the footage of us talking about that. Also, you can go to justiceforbabybooboo.com. That's boo-boo, B-O-U-B-O-U, and see what you can do to help. Continued healing with your son.
The website is justiceandprayersforbooboo.org.
Oh, okay, very good. Justiceandprayersforbooboo.org. I stand corrected. And thank you so much, Fonazan family. And our thoughts are certainly with you, and especially your baby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, we will keep contacting police and the Sheriff's Department trying to get more information about this story. And we've got keeping it